So I think we are live. Awesome. What I'm going to quickly do is share into our main group so that our independent support workers can connect in a moment. So I'm going to wait for that to come live. But welcome today to you, Luke. I'm really excited to talk about this topic, which is strategies to avoid burnout as a carer, because I know firsthand the challenges of being in the industry and experiencing burnout. And I also know how many people experience exactly the same thing. So whether they're an independent support worker, or they may be a carer, or they may actually be doing both of those roles at the same time. Hey, I know I've come across people like that who have, they're not caring for a loved one, they're going out to work, they're caring for other people, and they're often not putting their own oxygen mask on. So burnout is big, it's real, and I know we connected and we were talking about this topic, and I know you've got some exciting information in relation to this space. So I just want to maybe start with asking you a little bit about kind of burnout and what that might look like for people, and kind of things that they might flag and think, oh geez, maybe this is something that I'm hurtling towards, or I may be in a bit of a bad space at the moment. What's your experience and your background, Luke? Maybe we could start with that.
Thank you, Helen. I really appreciate being in this group today. And it's nothing like life experience that teaches you, hey, to give you the opportunity to do things a little bit different. And that may happen like a dozen or so times, or even like 100 or so times over a course of many years. And being in the wellness space now for quite some time, many years. Even while I've been in the wellness space, I too have experienced burnout. Because you want to fly the flag for community, you want to help community, but we find that we can forget about ourselves because we're kind of entrenched in the mission of like helping the world, and doing all that kind of stuff. But then it comes to a time where you're working 15 plus hours a day. And let me tell you, from my personal experience, that you may have earned $3,000 that week, but the long term effect of that, you end up spending that plus more to get yourself better. And I have literally experienced that, and I'm talking about fatigue, as in nearly crashing my car. Not in recent years, but I'm talking about prior to like working days and night shifts and stuff. So I can use that. I can bring from that experience as well. But it's more about, how do we find alignment with it all, so we've got balance, and being in that middle path of like, yes, I want to give to community. Yes, I want to earn a good stack of money every week. There's nothing wrong with that. But also, what is my wellness schedule so I don't burn out on a regular basis? And you might find, this is from my experience, that you go in cycles. Like you might be all right for 1, 2, 3, maybe even 6 weeks, but then we start pushing to a couple of months, and you haven't done anything. There's been no meditation. There's been no, massage therapy or energy work or taking any supplements. Like you've just gone, no, I'm just going to do takeaway food because I'm busy and I want my 15 coffees a day. I don't drink coffee, but my go-to is being sugars, and the sugars can only do so much, and you'll find that the body will respond in ways that it's giving you little warning bells to do things a little bit different.
Because you talk about the that fatigue side of things, which is definitely a sign of burnout. But I know myself, I found myself getting very snappy with family, like kids were doing things, my hubby was doing something, and I found like the smallest thing would just set me off. Either I'd snap or I burst into tears. That for me was a big sign that I was getting burnt out. And I don't know if you can, like, maybe other people are feeling, oh, geez, that's me. But that was my big one where I thought, whoa, something's not quite right here.
I've even got one of my DS clients. Like I'm pretty good friends with the parentals and the carers. The mother does care work as well, on top of having like basically three neurodiverse children,
Wow.
ranging from like, 4 years up to 17. And it's like, and I'm going to mention about the retreat a little bit later on. She's actually coming to the retreat um,
Yeah.
to learn some strategies to
Mhm.
avoid burnout. But also the beautiful part is to learn some language skills, or linguistics as we call it in NLP, to then find different ways to communicate with her clients that she works for, but also her children. So you're not getting caught up in their world 150%, because they're having
Mhm.
their journey. And yes, we've learned different ways to, well, we get a little bit flexible to how to communicate with a neurodiverse child. I mean, I've got 20 years experience unpaid from with my son. And even though I don't live with my son, I communicate with him quite regularly, like every day, twice a day. There is a phone call, or more than likely a video call. But there's still that learning part for him, and also for me, how to communicate, which takes the stress out of conversation, so we're not always butting heads. I've got a pretty good relationship with my son, to be quite honest, but I know that there's a lot of carers and parentals that can get really caught up in the behavior of their child or the person that they're caring for, trying to make them who they're not. Does it make sense? Like it's a little bit like they so desperately want them to be normal, and it's like it doesn't kind of work that way, because they're neurodiverse. They've got a diagnosis for a reason, and I think that even for myself, yes, I acknowledge the diagnosis, but also he's just my son. And not say just my son, but he's my son, and I just love him for who he is. And whatever's going on in his world, where it's up like this or down like this, it's more about just holding that space. But you also got to allow them to have their journey. You can't live every step of their journey at the same time. You can't be in your journey, their journey at the same time every step of the way, because that can also cause a lot of burnout. You've got to
Yeah.
create what we call a strategy. This is all about today, is creating a strategy for your own self-care, so you don't look like you're 30 years older in a space of a couple of years after a diagnosis. And I've seen this happen firsthand. And yes, I've been
Mhm.
there more than once, when I was with my son's mother, but also, and we're together for a really long time, but also, with clients. We're not there to change them. We're there to guide them towards their solution. And they may not take that path straight away. They may not even do it at all, but you're just there to hold the space and, give them some little hints of where to go,
Yeah.
but they may not follow that path. They may want to smoke cigarettes. They may want to drink alcohol if they're obviously over 18. I've got clients that are like that. They don't care. It's like, oh, mate, I want to drink 15 cans of Solo a day. And you're like, oh, man, that's a lot of sugar. Hey. And I'll drink it at 3 o'clock in the morning. As oh, my God, shit. But
Yeah.
all you can do is guide them towards their solution and be the example.
Yeah.
And you can even share with them, hey, they go, because they always ask you questions, don't they? Like, people on the spectrum, they'll go, what are you doing today? How many meals have you had? What's going in your world? Like, they want to know every minute of the day what you're doing.
Mm.
Can't always say that, but it's more about well, hey, I'm going for a run today. I do like running, and I know that's also inspired some of my clients to go, hey, I might be able to do
Mm.
something different now and do the
Yeah.
same. They may not go for a run, but they might go for a long walk, or they've got this
Yeah.
awareness about self-care or exercise. Yeah,
Mm.
you guys are the influence. So yeah, okay, there's a little bit of pressure there to perform, if that makes sense, or be the influencer. But this is where it can get a little bit tricky when we focus on one area too much than the other, and then we forget about self.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Totally.
and yeah, and then the days and weeks go on, and you may be just doing it purely to earn money. That's great, all good. But like I said beforehand, you might have earned, one, two, or $3,000 that week potentially. And if you've worked 80 hours that week, and you do that over a couple of months without any
Mm.
self care, no supplementation, know nothing, that's where things get really, it can destroy marriages, like your own
Yeah.
relationships with your partner or your husband or wife, your relationships with
Yeah.
your kids. So why are we making such a big deal? Because we've seen, like my own marriage broke up many years ago, and that
Mm.
was all pre NDIS anything. So yeah, it's like there was a lot of financial pressure to take my son to different therapies. So there was that kind of financial burnout, but also not giving ourselves time for any sort of time out. The time out back in the day was let's go to a nightclub and party on to escape our world. Okay.
Not always the best type, not always the best type of time out, hey, because I think as support work, there's two elements here, aren't we? We're talking about support workers, but we're also talking about people that are taking that care and responsibility and role for a loved one. So you may be a support
Absolutely.
worker experiencing burnout yourself, but also recognizing maybe you're supporting a participant and maybe you're seeing a family member and you're seeing that they're struggling. So they might be lacking in motivation. They might be overdoing it on the alcohol, overdoing it on the sugar, being, lacking in real, kind of health problems, self-doubt, all those things. So we need to be able to recognize it within ourselves as support workers, and we need to be able to be keeping an eye out for not only the participants, but the loved ones of the participants, and be seeing those flags and warning signals around a possible, oh geez, like actually maybe I need to just advise, not advise directly, but maybe suggest they seek support in relation to things that I think might be showing signs of burnout. But I know we talked a little bit about self-care. Can you maybe share some simple self-care strategies that we can all start thinking about and working on and incorporating into our lives on an everyday basis? Because I know I always want to try and do a bit
Yes.
more self-care.
Well, the first one that comes to mind, because I have no written list here, so I'm just going off from my life experience, because we do teach these kind of things, within our classes. But one of the hardest ones, and I'm sure you'd agree with this one, Helen, is when we're working with clients, sometimes we've just got to say no, as in, I can't do a shift today, guys. I actually
Yeah.
knocked when I had some health issues a couple of months ago, and I'm on top of it now, which is really good. I actually knocked back quite a few shifts. I'm talking about quite a few $1,000s worth of work. And I just said, and the guy was messaging me, like, he's a great guy. And he was messaging me on Facebook, going, hey, mate, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? I'm like, mate, no, I actually need to rest. He was really disappointed, but I had to say no. I had to go, mate, I've got to really look like, I've really got to find something to look after me. And now,
Yeah.
like, I said, now that I'm ready, like I actually messaged them yesterday and I said, oh, listen, I'm working through the school holidays. Can we make it after school holidays? So I've got this like big gap of not working together for a couple of months, which means at some level, they'll respect you more when you come back, because they kind of miss you because they got this connection there. So the first strategy is sometimes you've just got to say no. Now, this is
Yeah.
coming from someone who runs a business with Heal Connect Australia, that we've got support workers working for us, and sometimes they've got to say no, and that's okay.
Mm.
It could be stressful, for the business to go, who else are we going to find? But this is the idea of, like, when you're working in community, sometimes you just need to just take a step back and find a way to say no. It could be just for the day, or it could be just for a few
Mm.
hours, it could be just half a day. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's more about having an awareness just to say no. That's the first part
Yeah,
of the strategy tool.
those healthy boundaries are so, so important on so many levels. Hey.
And but here's the thing, right? You might be a carer or a parent that says, but I've got nobody to support me. How can I say
Mm.
no to look after my own kid? I get that. Like, that's a real hard one, yeah. So then you look at the balance. So let's say you've got NDS funding. It's like, okay, how can I find balance that I can get some time out? I know that, like, in my son's budget, he does do lots of different outings with in groups, which
Mm.
then gives his mum some time out to go and do what she needs to do. So, and if you don't have a budget, or so if you don't, sorry, have have any sort of NDS assistance, it's like, get the preparation of, like, well, what's the first step? The first step, of course, is to talk to a company who can help you get NDS funding. I don't know the exact steps. You might know better than me, Helen, but I know that We know we've got to get some sort of assessment done from a GP, and then of course getting an OT session, like an occupational therapy session, which we do know a few. I'm sure that's like part of the steps of getting funding. I know it takes a long time, but in the meantime, it's like, who can you reach out to community? It could be a brother, sister, mother, whoever, a friend who, you guys both might have neurodiverse kids, and you could just help take turns until you get some funding there. Carer Gateway, I mean, they have a massive waiting list, but that's kind of like the in-between between getting funding from NDIS, where they can give you some respite here and there. I know that can work, but there is still a long waiting list. But it's like, it took us nearly 12 months to be registered. So it's like, we still had to keep moving forward and putting strategies in place until we got registered, so we could still help community. So it's the same thing on the other end as a business.
Yeah.
So it's really about planning. So firstly, having an awareness that it can be done. And yes, we know that there's some horror stories with people who have gone for funding and haven't got as much. I've heard of stories where in year one, that the little child got bugger all funding. They might have got like $15,000 for the whole year or even 2 years. But then once they started to get some evidence back of where they're going, then the second time around, they got more funding. Now, this happened to one of my clients where there was a very minimal funding for the first year and a half, I think it was, or year. They went for a review, had their OT session, and their second lot, like their new one, had just got their new funding they got allocated, was way more than beforehand. Still not heaps and heaps of money, but enough to do some things. They can work with a support worker. They can, they can get some sort of therapy done. That they can get help, or the parentals can get help to make sure that as a family, you guys will stay connected. I'm not saying the problems will disappear, but it's more about the strategies of creating the progressive solution, not the whole solution. It's progressive, and it's multifaceted.
I mean, the role of a carer is that informal support. So you need to be able to maintain that informal support, or otherwise it's going to cost the NDIS a huge amount more. So there needs to be strategies in place whereby individuals who are taking on that caring role can actually access time out for themselves. And like you say, by speaking to maybe a cause, or speaking to somebody like yourself, or Carer Gateway, finding ways in which actually that respite can be incorporated into the NDIS plan, so that that individual can maintain their role as what the NDIS call an informal support, is really a way. I think a lot of people poo-poo it. They think, oh, geez, like, you're just a forgotten person as a carer, or you just got to put up with it and shut up. But there are ways, from your experience, like from our previous conversations, whereby people can actually get that respite and support that they need to maintain their role as a 24/7 carer in many cases.
Absolutely. And also too, and this is a massive acknowledgement, and because I've experienced this firsthand as well, as being a support worker. It's you guys, I know there's quite a few hundred people in this group, and I just want to put an acknowledgement that the work that you're doing, like I said, I've done 20 years without pay. I get it. There's a lot of life experience there, and that's why I can acknowledge the people who are doing this work, whether you're paid or not, whether you're a parent or a carer or a paid support worker, it doesn't matter. I just want to put that acknowledgement out there, because it takes a lot of courage to care for someone with either a disability or neurodiversity, whatever the diagnosis is. It doesn't matter, but it's more about, okay, they're not classified as normal per se, but here's the thing, like, we all have a gift, and if you're being pulled to help community in this way, you may have done it for financial reasons at first. That's fine. That's totally fine. But let me tell you, if you've been doing it for a while, you'll start to find that the money doesn't even make a difference anymore. It's you're actually doing the job because you want to do it. But our role, even though that, yes, we are registered and, for our programs, and, we're expanding progressively, over the next year or two into some bigger and better things. But what I can tell you is that, we all need support from somebody. Even us as leaders in the field, we also reach out to other leaders to support us, so we can give our best foot forward so you guys can get the care that you need. So the support workers and carers, yes, you're doing a great job, great acknowledgement, but here's the other side. The other side is that if you're in this, watching this right now, whether you're in this group or even our other group that we have with the parents and carers and support workers for Heal Connect, is this very thing. Having a strategy is going to keep you in the industry longer. So when we talk about self-care, what does self-care look like? What do I need to do? Okay. Now, there is a massive list that you could potentially do, but let's go to some basics for a moment. Have you ever, like, let's say it's first thing in the morning or last thing at night or both, or even middle of the day, where you've just given yourself 5 minutes? You might listen to an audio. It could be a relaxation audio, and just breathe and just recalibrate.
Breathing is so important. I think when we're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, we forget to breathe. Hey, like it's so simple, but sometimes you find, oh geez, I am not actually breathing.
And taking that and taking the guilt away from having that time out. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, wherever it is, where your kid's having a bath or whatever, whoever you're caring for, and just like stop, put your phone down, or put some music on so you can just chill. And that's one part of your strategy. So it's about ways to recalibrate. Certainly, going for any sort of bodywork session, schedule some time, even if it's once every 3 months. I mean, I'd suggest every once a month at the longest. But if money's a bit tight, save some bucks up, go and get yourself a 2-hour session. Someone, if it's remedial, that's fine. But if you get a 2-hour session, they may do some energy work at the same time. We actually sell the PMF mats, which is like an energy mat that has been scientifically proven for to recalibrate. I've got one in this very room that it's called a pulsed electromagnetic field mat. They're very inexpensive in comparison to what they used to be. About 10 years ago, they used to be like $6,000-7,000 now they're like $1,300 delivered. So you've got that kind of strategy as well. It's really good for people with autism. Like, I'm not trying to treat or cure, treatment, yes, but cure, no. But what I can tell you is that any form of holistic treatment for yourself and for your clients is gold. Doing, like even with my son, I've taken him to those recovery places, like on the Central Coast, we've got a place called G Recovery, and there's plenty of places like that where you would do, saunas and cold plunges and spas and doing alternative temperatures, compression for your legs and arms. They're all self-care and they're very inexpensive. It's also for a reset. I know when I've gone for a long run, these are the things that actually help me reset. I mean, have you ever done an ice bath thing?
Yeah, I find, Luke, when I'm overwhelmed, just actually getting out there and just putting my runners on and going for a walk, getting on the beach, getting some fresh air. It's amazing what just getting outside and getting out. You might not feel like you want to do it, but once you never feel worse after a bit of exercise and a bit of fresh air. Hey,
under extreme stress, which we've all experienced that over time, I can remember even being tasked by my own lovely wife to go to the beach and just stop for half an hour. Like just stop, get out of the house, because we work from home, get out of the beach. We're 2 minutes from the beach, got no excuses, yeah? Now, for people who don't have a beach close by.
Yeah, I've got a quick question then, Luke. So I know a lot of people say to me, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for a walk. I don't have time to get out. What would you say to them?
Seriously look at your schedule, and you have to literally schedule your time in there. So let's say, and you've got to start making little changes, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you're looking to make changes so you can have more wellness, I don't have time. What you're telling yourself, and also to the universe, I'll keep it very simple, is that you will never have time. And so if you don't have time for wellness, well, then you'll have to have time for sickness as you get older. Now, I'm 52. According to this calendar, I'm 52 years old. And I know people that are like 30 that nowhere near as fit as I am. And I'm not even a guru runner. I'm just like, I just like to do that as my self-care challenge for exercise.
Yeah.
I've got time, but if you've got time to spend on your phone for half an hour, you've got time to do self-care. And most people on
So true.
average will spend up to an hour a day, if not more, on social media. So it's like, I haven't got time. You actually do have time. We can get a bit lazy on making changes. Nothing changes until sickness comes in, and then you've got, oh crap, I've actually got to do something now. And then the doctor will tell you've got to go and look after yourself. Okay, doctor, and you go and do it. Let's do now. This whole Zoom today is about avoiding burnout. This is about prevention, not cures. Okay, so we spoke about the time out, breathing, talked about going to the beach or a lake if you live near a lake, and fresh air. Talked about things like going to like ice bars or saunas, any sort of reset, compression stuff for your legs or arms. That's also time out, but also reset for your physical body. Going for a massage, or any sort of energy healer or something like that can give you that opportunity for a reset in your busy life. Talked about the PMF.
Yeah. So what could I do in the moment? Like if I was just, I don't know, I might have just had an argument with my partner or my kids, running out the door, going out to work, just feeling like I've had this, like I've been feeling anxious, like the anxiety just kind of builds up in my body. I'm there. I might feel myself shaking sometimes. Have you got some simple strategies just in that moment, just to kind of stop that feeling of overwhelm or anxiety or whatever it might be for each individual?
Oh, absolutely. Something will take you like 2 minutes. Get yourself a blank diary with some lines in it. Not a diary, just like a notebook or whatever. And you'll find by expression with the pen on how you're feeling or whatever's in your head, empty out this little head of yours. You might say, I feel like crap, right? Just say that was the statement. Right? I feel like crap. I'm anxious. I've got all these worries in the world. You write that stuff down. You write that stuff down. What you're actually doing, you're finding a way to reset or empty the mind with all the clutter, or what we call the white noise. Expression with the pen is very powerful.
Okay.
So when you express that, you will find it's like I've taken a little bit of that weight off the shoulders. It doesn't take the problem away, but you're actually acknowledging that there is a problem, which means then, there's a way to create a solution progressively. May not be the whole solution. It might be even 20% of the solution, but you're in the right direction to create your solution over time. Yeah. So the expression with the pen, or another thing you can do as well, like in regards to writing, maybe you just write about 2 or 3 things of what you appreciate or what you're grateful for. You might think, oh yeah, I've heard them from coaches. They say all this kind of stuff. Guess what, guys? It works. I sent some messages this morning to some of my beautiful people that I connect with, and I just said, I really appreciate you. I really like, and I just, yes, it wasn't written, but I sent a message to, one of my close friends, or actually a couple of my close friends, and I just said, I really appreciate you and what you do in my life. Thank you. Now,
that's
when you're in that
awesome.
space.
Yeah, because we don't stop to actually go, wow, I am actually doing a lot. I'm a pretty awesome human being. Yeah, we don't do that, do we? We don't. Yeah.
It's those simple things. Like we've had clients that work with us one-on-one, like even outside of NDIS, and they'll go, oh, I've got these problems. It's like, have you actually expressed how you feel today in writing with the pen? And I go, oh, no. I said, try it. Humor me, try it. And then as the weeks go on, they go, oh, I feel really light. Oh, I'm making better life decisions now. Because how can you seriously make a really good life decision when you've got so much mess up going on here? But if you've got a clearer mind here, that will help with all your other decision making as well.
So true. So true. And what can I do in the moment? Like, I know me, my go-to is a glass of wine in the evening after a stressful day. Some people might be a glass of wine. It might be overindulging in food. It could be gambling. It could be so many different things. is there something I could do just to kind of stop me in the moment and remind myself maybe I need to make a better choice other than a glass of wine? I could go and have a herbal tea. Is there a way that I could just kind of, I don't know, retrain myself or change that thought process to help me try and regulate and reduce that kind of burnout of all the things we know don't help us to get to the outcome we want?
Absolutely. And this is coming from someone who used to smoke a lot of pot and escapism because of stress. So I'll be very honest. Like, I mean, I didn't do it for my whole life, but there was a period in my life where that was the go-to, on a regular basis. So that is a form of escapism. And I remember, like, when I stopped doing that completely, I found that I did it progressively. So it's like, if we're reaching for a wine at the end of the night, so instead of giving yourself a hard time, you go do a cold turkey. Oh, we're just gonna quit alcohol tomorrow. How about, okay, you've got 7 days in a week, so there's 7 evenings. Let's say out of the 7, you might say, I might just do it every second day.
Yeah, I like that, because
every second day.
Stopping the wine, and then the following night I drink the wine and go, oh geez, like I failed again.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not about failure. It's progressive, because you've got to here's the thing, right? They say it takes 21 days to change a habit. Yeah, there's some truth in that. But I've actually read some studies. There's an Australian study where it says it can take up to 216 days or whatever it is to change a habit. Now, that doesn't mean that you got excuses. That's the longest. The shortest was about 19 days. So the average person, even though they say 21 days to change a habit, which is a lot of truth there, the average was about 66 days. So let's say that, okay, 66 days, let's say it's 2 months, just to keep it really simple.
Yeah.
And let's say week 1, okay, you've gone from 7 wines. Let's pick on wine for a tick, right? You've had 7 wines, and let's even get it down to 3. And what's week 2 look like? You might go, oh, I might do 3 again. I haven't changed. Okay, that's cool. Week 3, I've got it down to 2. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you might say Thursday night's important for me, and Monday, or Thursday and Sunday, whatever your days are, it doesn't matter. And then you'll find by the time you get to week 4 and 5, you're probably just having 1 glass a week, and you're really happy with that. You've got a day, or an evening where you go, you know what, Sunday night is my thing. Okay, I'm going to celebrate my week. I'm going to have my 1 wine. That's fine. That's all good. It's not taking over your life, right? But then you will find that you may have some weeks where you don't have one at all, but you're not craving it. So I always look at progressive. Now, the reason why I say this, because I've also helped a lot of clients with addiction to alcohol, cigarettes, and also other drugs like cocaine and speed and stuff. And I've never said to any one of those clients that you've got to give up tomorrow or else. I always talk about the progressive strategy. It's okay. You've got this presenting problem. Okay. And we give them all the things, why they shouldn't do it, make them aware. Okay, well, cocaine's very expensive. I've never taken it, but I know how much it costs. Yeah. And it's like, you got your financial part there. And some people who have come and see me as a client, money's not a problem. They'll go and spend $3,000 on a weekend. Yeah. But it's more about what is the strategy to get it to zero. Now, what's really interesting is that one of my clients has been working with me for 3 months, that his weekend was, partying on, just keep that word simple, which means he felt fatigue, which means that when he's a boss as well. So when he talks to his staff on a Monday, he's still really cranky because he's still getting over a hangover from the weekend.
Wow, yeah.
Now he's doing ice bath challenges, exercises at 4 a.m. in the morning with a group of guys, and he's changing his whole life.
Yeah.
Just as an example, right? So he has more energy now because he's changed the strategy of his life. He's saving lots of money. Well, he's probably spending on other things, but he's saving money doing that thing.
Yeah.
And now he's got some strategies about self-care. Now, he's still not fully there yet. Like, he's got to change diet a little bit, but it's progressive. These changes that we're putting people towards, or steering them towards, their solution is progressive. Because let's say that you're a mum of 4 kids and you're putting them first. Okay, that's fine. but you also got to create a strategy that you may want to go to the gym so you can lose some excess weight that you've gained through pregnancy. No judgment. Like that's there's a lot of truth in that with a lot of mamas, and they've put themselves last. But when they start putting themselves first, what you're actually doing is you're teaching your children about looking after you. So they're looking up you for life solutions, and you might be a size 20 and you find it really hard to budge that weight, and you're already exhausted and you're burnt out and you're cranky. So how am I going to change? You don't have to change it overnight.
I love
that.
that idea.
Progressively over time.
We put so much pressure on ourselves to fix it tomorrow. So I love that idea of progressively making those changes and just adding small things, a small thing at a time, because it's amazing. It's amazing what a difference that can make. So no, that you've given some really, really valuable tips there, Luke. Can I take a moment to ask you a little bit? I know you've got an event coming up quite soon under Heal Connect, and I know that there's a lot of value for people who are either support workers or carers who can actually take a little bit of time out to reset and recharge and learn some strategies. So can you tell me a little bit more about what it is you're running and how you might be able to access it?
Absolutely. So with this retreat that we've scheduled for September 30th to 15th, it's on the Central Coast of New South Wales. There's a beautiful place there called Noonawina. It's a 100-acre retreat looking over the Yango National Park. Has like spas and swimming pool. You have your own private space, or you can share with someone. In regards to the residence part, there's going to be some healthy meal choices. But on top of that, you have myself, Carol, Heidi, and Kim, who are part of Heal Connect. We're all part of the team of Heal Connect that are going to be providing some learnings how you can do life different other than just respite. Okay, you got some time out for yourself, but we've got some tools and strategies to provide that you can walk out of there a lot different. And also we've got some things there. It's going to help you to release your past as well. And what I'm saying, even though it's only a short amount of time, we've got some really cool processes that we're going to be doing to help you release some past stuff. And I really feel one of the biggest emotions that a lot of carers and support workers need to let go of is guilt. Because they're not, they think they could do more, but it's like you only can do the best you can with the tools that you have. So the idea is to improve the tool belt, but also to do some processes to let go of past and really find and be in that safe space that if emotion comes up, that you're held. If those emotions come up, that you feel safe to do so. It's a non-judgmental space to be in, so you can get the acknowledgement that you need in that group space. You will find when you come to this retreat, there'll be other people that are very similar to you, and this is what creates the bond with people that come and do any of our trainings. Helen, you've done some of our training with our NLP stuff in the past, and
I had a massive shift in my life when I went through the processes that you're talking about. So it's really life-changing stuff. Hey,
and it's the environment. So we're going to take you out of your own environment, and then because to make changes within your environment can be a bit more challenging, so we're going to take it out of your current environment, whether it's work or home, doesn't matter, and then apply the resets, because that means that you're in our environment, in our container, so we can hold you to release those emotions from past, to add to your tool belt, and to feel safe that you can express. You might be really freaking angry about what's going on in your world, and you want to express it, and you want to we've got processes to release that as well. That's you'll be surprised. Yes, it only goes for 2 days, but you'll be surprised what you'll walk out with when you get back into your environment, that you've got those extra tools in place and you've released a lot of stuff from the past, that you will be on the trajectory of being your new you. Now,
I love it, because it's more than about getting away. It's actually you're going to be giving some real strategies to people to deal with challenges that come in life and kind of let go of things that maybe might have been holding them back.
Absolutely. And the other beautiful part about this as well, and like even for people who might say, oh, well, I haven't got the time or the money or whatever, that's fine. We're going to be running more of these next year. Like this is our first of many. We have run retreats in the past, individually. Like we've run retreats, in Bali, for women. We've done that in the past as well. And what happens when people feel safe, the emotions come up. It's actually good to express emotions, rather than trying to push it down. That's also a strategy to release burnout, is that you've got a way to release those emotions. You want to go start a boxing class, go and do a boxing class. But you find on these other ways of doing to release the anger or the guilt or the fear, whatever's going on in your world, you'll find that you'll feel, remember we're talking about lighter, write things out. You'll feel lighter, which means that you'll feel better, which means that you can give to community exactly what you desire, or you being the mum or the single dad or whatever's going on, so you can be your best version. And on top of that, for the people who might say, how can I do this? How can I access funding? We do have some strategies to either access your son or daughter's plan, because there are some categories where you can, where the parentals can, use some funding for that. But it's more of a private conversation how we can make that happen. For the support workers, there's two strategies here. The first one is, okay, if you're purely like ABN holder and you're self-employed, it's an opportunity that you can actually, claim that through your business as an expense, definitely, because it's all about classified as training. So you can claim that. If you're working for an employer, like we're literally talking to employers right now that they have like a lot of staff, and these employers are quite keen to either partly pay or fully pay for their experience at the retreat. But not just at the retreat. We've also got some burnout prevention programs, like a 5-week burnout prevention program. It's very cost effective, both for carers and also support workers. So we do have that, and they'll be online to start with, and that's going to be a 5-week. It'll probably go longer than 5, but you'll find that after 5, you'll be in the right direction. But I know when you have a community of people that are having similar experiences, and when we do these Zooms, you feel like someone's got your back. And when you feel like someone's got your back, the stress doesn't kind of hold on as much, because you've got ways to express how you feel. How are you today, Julie or Joe or John? And they go, oh, I'm feeling like crap. I've had this, and that. They're emptying out all their stuff. And then you can write it down how you feel. It doesn't get rid of the problem, but it certainly gets you a way to empty out, so you've got a clear enough mind to create a strategy to create the solution. Because how many times have you tried to make a solution when you're all fried up in the head and you end up making the wrong decision because you're all fried here and you can't think clearly? You've got to take it one step at a time. I'm not saying that I am perfect at this, but I can tell you I'm a lot better than what I used to be when it comes to providing solutions in stressful moments. We all have different types of stresses every day. Me, you, not so much the dog that's next to me right here, but it's more about she's asleep. It's more about the a strategy to go, all right, I need time for reset. Give myself 10 minutes. Have you ever read a book? Have you ever listened to an audio? What is your strategy for the morning? You could listen to an audio, like a podcast. Some of my clients who are very time poor, so listen to a podcast, goes for 10 minutes. It'll give you a reset for the day, so you've got a new outlook, because they'll say something in that podcast and you'll go, oh yeah, that's great, awesome. You've just had a new.
I love sticking some loud dance music on just to change my mood as well. If I'm feeling a little glum or a little sorry for myself, just get in the car, switch some loud music on and sing along. It's amazing. But no, I thank you, Luke, for coming and having a chat with me today. I think you've given some really strategies around how we can do and manage some simple self-care activities. And I love the idea of progressively just taking little steps. Rome wasn't built in a day. We're not expecting to do it overnight. And so, how can people find out more about your retreat and your programs around burnout? Have you got a link that I can share to the group?
Absolutely. So the website is www.healconnect.com.au. And you can have a bit of a stalky through the site. We do have some other groups. I know that we can do some posts within this group as well, like your group. But we've also this video will be streamed into our carer and support worker group as well. So we'll be able to put those links in there. We do have a 1300 number, which I can give to you, which is the 1300 800 356. You can call us here at the office, and if you have any questions, it's really about knowing that through a very simple conversation, they can go for like 15 minutes, how it can make your life change dramatically, all because of one decision. We've seen this happen multiple times. You know, people come here, they're all frazzled. Oh my God, I can't, my life's all, it's all crap. And then we've got this strategy and we go, hey guys, have you thought about this? And they go, oh, no, actually I haven't. Or I've heard about it, or I've heard about it and I've never done anything about it because I don't feel supported.
And I just love when
you
know, I've learned a number of the strategies from yourself and your beautiful wife, that when you have those strategies in your toolkit, it's just transformational. So, I've seen firsthand how you can really change not only your own life, but you can better support other people and maybe utilize some of those tips and tools in your personal toolkit to better support other people. So, it's really big stuff.
Yeah, thank you, Helen. Yeah, I can really appreciate this time today. And like whether one person sees this or 150, all I'm going to say is that you watching this at the right time, so you can make that decision, to feel supported, so you can be your better you. That's all I'm going to say. There's no force here, but let me tell you, these retreats that we do, they create friendships, they create community, they create bonding, they create support. And you will leave a lot lighter than what you did when you first came in. So
Totally.
I'll leave that. Totally. I'll leave that to you, Helen. But I will put the link in the Zoom for today.
Below on all the socials, so that everyone's got access to connect with you, Luke, and learn more about the retreat and other ways in which you can support them on their journey. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thanks a lot, Helen. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.